Tuesday, July 2nd. Today is my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. Uh, I love you and get to celebrate you today. um, start with, I always like to show the upper level water vapor loop. Um, you have a broad westerly flow flowing up over this way, which is bringing moisture into the um, desert southwest, or will continue to do so in the coming days. Had some severe weather move through up here in South Dakota area, Wyoming yesterday, as well as northeast corridor, mid-Atlantic, and some of the southeast. Um, still have an upper low off the east coast of Florida, which is, funnily enough, it's funneling moisture down this way. You can see this broad flow this way and back this way around the trough, which is leading to a lot of heavy rain just offshore of Florida coastline, and this will continue to be the focus in the coming days for heavy rain and possible tropical development. We got a cold front situated right here in this area, kind of a stationary boundary here. This cold front is supposed to forecast to move somewhere, install on the Gulf Coast somewhere, and once it dissipates, it could foster some tropical development in the this weekend. So as far as um, storm reports from yesterday, had some hail out west here that I talked about. Um, Significant winds. It's winds over 60 knots, and some significant wind gusts, 50 knots, and a lot of wind damage reports in the northeast corridor, mid-Atlantic. Well, not a lot of hail because the column was saturated, but wind loading, moisture, water loading on the column, downward momentum, and increased wind speed, and some reports down here. Mississippi, Alabama, South Dakota, Nebraska, and a little bit some out west here. Wind gusts, wind damage. Not that widespread severe event, which was pretty much as expected yesterday. So, that being said, let's go through the broad upper level pattern next 7 days or so. No, why did we do that? But let's see the upper level low off to the east coast of Florida kind of dissipates there. Excuse me. High pressure building in this area where I talked about broad high pressure flow into the desert southwest, which, of course, is going to lead to some excessive rainfall. High pressure kind of shifts to the east some over time, and this trough kind of pinches off, like we talked about yesterday, and leaves some upper level energy behind down here around the 6th. And it's hard to really say like if these are upper level energy systems are somehow related to low pressure at the surface somewhere when we talk about tropical development. So let's just take a look here. Yeah, this is a GFS model indicating some kind of low pressure system, but nothing too major really. Um, if we switch to the European model for that same time period, indicating maybe something off the coast here, but nothing too strong. So a really weak low pressure system there. Main impacts based on this model, if this comes to pass, will remain mostly offshore in Florida or on the the east coast of the southeast. It really depends where this sets up at. Um, this model is correct, and we could have some flooding issues in these areas if it just sits there and stalls. As far as precip chances go, we can transition to that. We talked about the flow into the desert southwest and West Texas, and rain chances remain pretty high along along just west of the southeast coast, and shifts southeast with time. See these rain chances increase all the way up into North Dakota and around the periphery of the high pressure system in New Jersey and Northeast and the upper Midwest. So it looks to be a pretty wet period for a lot of the nation. And this getting into Saturday doesn't really get into the time period where the tropical system may develop. And transitioning to the tropics, this is the National Hurricane Center's current thinking on um, a subtropical tropical development. It's now up to a chance of 40% chance, and given the model uncertainty, although now there's still a lot of members in these models that show something developing, but in the European, like I showed on the one Pivotal Weather website, it does show a low pressure developing and kind of fizzling out. There's still a lot of uncertainty right now. Sorry I keep saying that, but that's just the nature of these stall fronts and where development ultimately occurs and in a marginal environment. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. As far as hazards go right now, we have some flood watches, some river flood warnings, red flag warning out here in the northwest, heat advisory up here in my states aren't that great. Some of them I can't remember. and flood warning and another flood watch here along the coast. let's let's look at the Weather Prediction Center's excessive rainfall outlook. Like we talked about, um, this is up until like 8 a.m. today for the Eastern time. Slight marginal risk, slight marginal, and moves shifts east. Excessive rainfall outlook. The areas that we discussed. And the days 3 through 7. Well, I guess we'll just have to come back to what their thinking is on flood risk in the coming days. But the main risk is in Florida, in the desert southwest in the short term, up until this weekend. So, again, if you're going to be vacationing on the beaches of the southeast or in Florida, just keep an eye on the weather and be weather aware. It may not rain all day, but just plan your day around it and go from there. As far as a severe weather outlook in the coming days, today there is a 5% risk of wind in these areas. Wind damage of 50 knots or higher within 25 miles of a point, and hail up in around the Great Lakes, Wisconsin, South Dakota, Missouri, areas near Iowa. So not there's no tornado risk, although there's a possibility of a brief spin up. Um, and we all know that can happen once in a while. Day 2 shifts further east. Marginal risk, no tornado risk, at least right now. Less than 2%. Wind, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, near the Great Lakes again, and up in the northeast into Maine. And a hail threat, interestingly enough, up in the northeast into Maine as well. Day 3, this is just your probabilities for this day. They don't highlight like hail and tornado threats this far out, but likely it's driven by hail and wind threat. And you can see there's still a large portion on each day threat for just general thunderstorms in a good part of the United States, except for the central U.S. here, which remains dry for a few days. I want to show the progressions of the front here, like we talked about yesterday. Today. Cold front moving south. Day 2, you see it. They're depicting a low pressure along this wave here, which, if that's the placement of it, could enhance the rainfall in this area during that time. Stalled front along the East Coast. Complex pattern with surface troughs all over the place out west. Most likely, this is a Denver low that develops if there's a southerly flow coming this area. And these troughs can be the impetus for severe weather depending on other conditions that are out there. Day 3. Stall front again. It's moving a little bit further south, and you have another front that may be going through the northeast here that may finally clear things out after it passes through. And this front, I'll probably stall out, like I said, down here somewhere. A lot of different features here. Warm front, which on day 3 is probably the reason there's a severe threat in this area up here. Other than that, that's where we'll be at in 3 days. I know it's a little more detail a lot of people want, but I'd like to show that so people understand what's going on. So I'm going to go and show the current thinking for precip today. This is the high resolution rapid refresh model for the nation. We have what we showed, like that southwesterly flow. Sorry, southeasterly flow or southerly flow and moisture coming up from the Gulf, from the remnants of Barry and its associated moisture. We have an onshore flow here into Florida. That's unfortunate. And really, this model isn't showing a lot of heavy rainfall in Georgia. A lot of rainfall offshore, and of course, well, Mexico, Texas, desert Southwest, up in, all the way up into Canada. I'm going to zoom into Georgia real quick, just to kind of get an idea here. No, really not a big focus for convection today. So we'll have to see how this plays out for today, but that gives you a general idea what to expect today. In Georgia, in the southeast in general, we get pop-up storms, and they usually aren't depicted by the models. They don't have a lot of trouble with boundaries and things like that set up during the day. So we'll just have to see how that goes today. Excuse me. Apologize there. Whew. Got a cat, makes me sneeze. Anyway, thanks y'all for tuning in. I know we go into a lot of detail sometimes, but I hope this is helpful. And please, give me some feedback if you think you want to hear something different or more or less or whatever. Please let me know, okay? Y'all have a great day.